Welcome to episode 2 of the 33FC podcast. Today we are joined by Jake. How you doing, mate?
Hey, okay. Are all right? Are you?
Not too bad, mate. Great to have you on. Second
Great to be
episode.
here. Great to be here.
A little bit about on Jake, Liverpool fan. As I said earlier, you can't have everything. So
Yeah, true.
a little bit on your team. How you doing?
To be honest, mixed start the season. A lot of pressure on defending champions. Never done it before. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp's getting some unfair criticism at the moment. You've had 198 points in 2 seasons. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, but we're getting there. Just a rough patch at the moment, I think.
I think that leads us on nicely into one of the main topics, doesn't it? World football at the moment, with Frank Lampard getting sacked. I think after
Yeah,
18 months, I think it's actually quite harsh, but Chelsea have a reputation, don't they, of getting rid of managers when results don't go their way.
I think the one thing that really surprised me about the Lampard sacking is the fact how many players they brought in under Lampard. I mean, young players, you got Ziyech, Werner. They're trying to build a squad there. Like Liverpool were in transition. Manchester United done it when they've been rich. You've got to give a manager time. If you're going to buy that many players, was it 150 million they spent in the summer? On players that have been there 23, 24 years of age. You can't expect, and also the left back from Leicester, what's his name? He bought as well. Chilwell. You can't expect to buy that many players, young players, and win every game because it's going to take time. And obviously at Chelsea are known for not giving them time. So I don't understand it, to be honest.
I think one of the things what hasn't helped him is you've just touched on it there. Players are making the ground running. Werner's gone through a poor patch, which is unfortunate because you don't wish that on any player. And I think things like that, Havertz not hitting the ground running, have ultimately given him the boot because
which is a shame, really, because if you look at the start of the season, they were flying Chelsea. They were up there. They were right up there. Liverpool, United, City, Chelsea. They're all kind of up there. And obviously Leicester, they were flying. And then I think Christmas and this month has just been a terrible couple of months for him. So I do genuinely think, though, it was too early to sack him, especially mid-season. You don't sack a manager mid-season.
Do you think, if you look at last season, though, he didn't have a transfer window to work with, and all the young players that got the shot actually took the opportunity, got in top four? Do you think they'll feel a little aggrieved because when you bring 200 million worth of players in, your chance goes? Do you think it just shows that sometimes you can work as hard as you want, but when a young player's available, we don't get a chance?
To be honest with you, Jordan, I actually just think that's football nowadays. If you don't spend money, you're not going to win leagues. And it does, like for instance, Liverpool's front three, you have to reinvest money every single season. You're not going to win it otherwise. So, yes, the young players have been aggrieved, but on the other side of that coin, you have to reinvest into the squad because if you don't, you're 3 weeks behind. And given the likes of City, Chelsea, Liverpool, you don't have that time to kind of just lose 2-3 games in a row because it's the Premier League. In Spain, in France, in Italy, you can kind of get away with it, but in the Premier League, you're paying for it. So I can understand both ways, but it was a little bit too premature to sack him, I think.
So talking on the sacking there, they've replaced him with ex-PSG manager Thomas Tuchel. Good appointment, or is it one of them where we'll have to wait and see?
To be honest, I've since the arrival of Tuchel, I've never really heard of him, but I've been reading up about it, and he doesn't take any prisoners. I think Chelsea need a manager that will kind of say, right, okay, you're my squad, this is my team. I think Chelsea really need that. He's done well at Dortmund and PSG. I think PSG were wrong to get rid of him because he got to a Champions League final. So I just think that he's a good appointment and it'll be a breath of fresh air for Chelsea. He's worked with young players before, which is good. So I think he's a good appointment, to be honest. I don't know what you think.
You mentioned there on his time at PSG, got to a Champions League final, was winning, obviously, domestic titles there. I kind of agree with you that if you're gonna get rid of someone who's just took you to your first Champions League final, I think that you're asking for it there because someone even like Pochettino at Spurs, at the greatest season of their modern era, got rid. I don't see why football's doing this. Managers have the greatest season and they get rid. But it must be part and parcel of football these days. Then
I think as well, touching on the Pochettino sacking just briefly, because we're not really going to talk about this today. But what I don't understand is with the Pochettino sacking is every player at Tottenham loved Mauricio Pochettino. He got to the Champions League final and he finished in the top four. Well, he qualified because he got to the final. I don't understand why they sacked him. And I understand he went for Mourinho, a proven winner who wants to challenge. But when you've had the season of your life, I don't understand that sacking. And I know we're not going to talk about it, but it's gone to PSG now. After Thomas Tuchel's gone to Chelsea, so swings and roundabouts, really.
Yeah, it's one of them where you allude to managers having the seasons of their life. And I don't want to sound disrespectful on Chelsea. Lampard was a new young manager coming into a side with no transfer window, brought the young players through, got Champions League football, and didn't get a chance next season when he brought his own signings in. It's just weird, isn't it, football, the way management works?
I just totally disagree with this. When you get sackings midway through a season, I just don't think it's right. I think you should at least say, right, if you don't deliver this season, you're out, but you've got a season to work with. Yeah. That's a young squad at Chelsea. I will never understand why people get sacked in mid-season. I just don't get it, unless your form is horrendous and you're a top 4 or 5 club. Fair enough, maybe, but I just don't understand that. Chelsea weren't in dire straits, were they? So no. I don't really understand it.
I think quickly touching on something different there. If you'd have sat down there near the start of the season for the start there, then you could have said, yeah, fair play. That you've not had the greatest start. Given time, he's turned those results around. And now they're back in the mix for a European spot.
Exactly, and that just shows you time is everything in football. But Chelsea are just not that kind of club, are they, really?
No.
So Abramovich is ruthless. He really is. So it's to be expected, really. It's Chelsea again. That's all we can really say.
I think that's something that Steven Gerrard said. He said, touched on that Lampard should have been given time, but it's Chelsea how they operate. So
it's true. No, it is true, because you look at the job he's done at Rangers, and an ex-England professional doing well at Rangers because he had time. I think Lampard deserved it, to be honest.
And touching on Tuchel there, because it will lead us nice into our next topic. How long do you think he'll get at Chelsea?
To be honest with you, Jordan, I don't really know too much about Tuchel, but I am really intrigued. I love the way he operates. I've read a couple of articles online about the players he's worked with and the way he operates. I love the way he operates. A German manager, so German managers in England do quite well. So I think that he will bring fluidity to the side. And if you look at Guardiola and the way his Bayern Munich side played and bring that to City, I think Thomas Tuchel could be good, especially with young players. So he might be a perfect fit for Chelsea.
And talking to new managers, Wayne Rooney got the job permanently, didn't he, at Derby? So I think that could turn out to be a good appointment long term.
Yeah, I just think with a club in the Championship, you have to give people time. You know, the lack of experience, he's not got that much experience, but I think that is a very good appointment. I really do think that. They've got a good base at Derby as well, obviously. Frank Lampard, ex-World former club. And when a player of that stature, an ex-player of that stature comes into a club in the Champions League, in the Championship, everybody kind of just goes, I've got to play for this guy. So that Derby squad right now will just be thinking, if I don't play well, I'm dropped, because he's a winner. Simple as. He always has been, hasn't he? So
I think the way he's turned results around that, I know they had a rocky start to the season, which ended up Philip Cocu leaving. But I know they've had poor results of recent, but he's taken them out the bottom 3, which is a great sign. But I think people he's got in and around him, coaching-wise, has given him a right lift. He's got Liam Rosenior, Shea Given as his goalkeeper coach as well. So he's got the experienced ex-pros as well, helping him.
To be honest with you, Jordan, going on to Liam Rosenior, I've watched him on some football shows in the past. I love the way he talks about football. He's such a coach. He's like, if you want a perfect role model of a coach, and he didn't have the best playing career. He played at Leeds and Derby, of course, but he seems like such a somebody to aspire to. I think the players will get the best out of Wayne Rooney. And going back to Derby, perfect.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you look at coaching in that respect, it's always good to have someone who's been at the club, knows the roles, knows how the club operates, so they can give the manager their insight. They don't have to do the manager's job for him, but they can say, right, this works, this doesn't work. It's entirely up to you, but if you're going to do something like take parts of this and bits of that, so you can operate the club in the best way possible, because they've not had the best of times, because obviously they're struggling with their ownership at the moment. So it's bloody tough for them, because we've been through that.
Yeah. I think when you've got a player like an ex-player like Rooney behind you as well, understanding the club, and obviously the Championship, it's the toughest league to get out of in the world, in my opinion. So you need good people around you, and Liam Rossini is definitely one of that for Wayne Rooney, definitely.
You touched on Rooney's winning mentality there. Do you think? I know you said that players will get dropped if they don't perform, because he's got that winning mentality. Do you think if he can bring that through, not just the first team, but like pass it down to the younger players and stuff like that, there'd be no reason why they shouldn't be moving up the table?
Definitely, yeah, because at the end of the day, if you look at what's his career, he's a winner. Do you know what I mean? He's got that winning mentality with him through work with David Moyes, who was a good manager at Everton, and obviously Sir Alex. So I think he's got that in him, and obviously with Liam Rossini with him as well as the rest of the team around him, I think he's doing a good job. He's going to do a good job going in there. And it's at the right level. I don't think he's ready for the Premier League.
Yeah, I think if we touch on the next Derby manager there, Frank Lampard, I'm not going to say he wasn't Premier League quality manager, because he proved himself in his first season, didn't get the time in his second. Where do you think he would be with Derby if he'd have stayed there for an extra season? Do you think he could have took them to the Premier League?
Definitely. I think they'd be in the Premier League, to be totally honest with you. Well, challenging or first or second, I do genuinely think, because the players bought into what he was trying to do. And I think going from Derby to, I think he could have done with another year at Derby. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, so you never know. It might not work out, but I think he could have done with another year at Derby.
And quickly touching on Championship, Norwich are flying at the moment. I think they're 6 points clear of Watford and 7 of Swansea, having played a game less than Watford. It's good to see a team like Norwich flying again, because they didn't have the best Premier League campaigns when they went down.
Yeah, to be honest, Norwich, I never worry about Norwich when they went down, because they had a good system there. And let's not be fair, John. Norwich, let's be fair. John, Norwich are a massive club. They are a big club. They deserve to be in the Premier League. So I never really worried about Norwich, because we've got a good owners, good players, and a good manager. So they'll be back next season, I'm pretty sure.
When we touch on managers getting time, obviously, I think it's Farke who's in charge there.
Daniel Farke, yeah. He's
got relegated and he's been given a time to rebuild and try and take them back up the leagues. So it proves that if you give a manager time, you can actually do something. I understand some clubs struggle with giving managers time, but in hindsight, it does work, because there's Premier League clubs that have proven it, Championship clubs that have proven it works.
I think the only thing with that is, obviously, with going back to Frank Lampard, there's different aspirations, obviously, at Norwich. Well, obviously, but Daniel Farke is a great advert for just sticking by your manager, and all credit for Norwich for giving him time to do it. So that's all I can say.
A good topic there, especially when we're talking on managers and who've been given time. Manager over in La Liga, he's absolutely flying at the moment. Diego Simeone. What he's done with Atletico is amazing.
He's a beast. You know, like, not if you think about a couple of years ago when Atletico came to Anfield and they just defended for their lives. They looked amazing. You know, in terms of a defensive-minded coach that gets results, he's probably up there with the best. I mean, he reminds me of a young Mourinho in some ways, in the fact that he just doesn't quit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Atletico 7 points clear of Real, but obviously Luis Suarez, what a signing he was.
Yeah, they've replaced where they've lost as well. Obviously, Suarez came in, Morata went out. They've brought players through like Llorente over the past couple of seasons has been amazing, as well as Saul and Koke. They've always been good defensively, so we don't have to touch on that.
Yeah, of course.
Players in and around, bloody hell.
Yeah, they are different quality. So I just think signing Luis Suarez is just what a signing. I really do believe that he scores goals for fun on his stage. So they've got a good manager with a good squad. So it's not really that surprising. And just given how Barca have been this season, I can't see anyone else winning the league at the moment.
Yeah, what do you think's gone wrong there with both, speaking on Real and Barca? Because Real have had a tough time of recently. They got knocked out by a third division side. Okay, I know I butchered that, but it was worth a shot at it. 2-1. And then Barcelona squeezed past Canea in a 2-0 after extra time.
I think when you go touching on Real Madrid, I think Zidane and Sergio Ramos in the past week have both been tips away from Real Madrid, so there's some uncertainty there. I think Florentino Perez is not happy with Zidane's management skills at the moment, and Real Madrid, much like Chelsea, are just unhappy if they're not winning, and they are a winning club. Their record in Europe says that. I just think that the squad needs an overhaul, maybe. I'm not sure, but I think I don't think they really replaced the goals that Ronaldo left.
It's one of them, isn't it? Ramos is doing his holding out for his contract malarkey. But I think this season it's had a more damaging effect than when he used to do it in the summer. Because normally him and Varane, one of the best partnerships in world football. But they've lost.
Do you think that him not having a contract extension has kind of led through? Because obviously in that dressing room he must be a really, really big figure. So do you think that not having a contract extension given to him, it's affected the dressing room?
Quite possibly, to be honest, because as horrible as it is to say, when you get one bad egg in the dressing room, and if Ramos isn't getting his own way, it could have a spiral effect, because there's been players who have been underperforming as well as those who are unhappy. Odegaard was, I'm not being nasty, he was doing all right this season. He's been shipped off to Arsenal on loan. So what have these young players got to do to nail down that starting berth? I know training does a big part of it, but are these players picking a team, or is the manager picking it? You don't know, do you?
No. I think the thing is with Real Madrid, it's a case of the board. The board are so strong over there, and obviously Vinicius Junior has lost his place in the starting lineup. I mean, if you said to me that a year ago, Vinicius Junior at Real Madrid is going to be on the bench for 2 or 3 games, I don't understand that, having let Ronaldo go. I just don't understand the way he's not starting games. Do you know what I mean? Because he's one of their best players
as well. I think he got his first goal in over a year. Like, we're talking a world-class footballer there. He struggles. Like, you wonder what's going on. I know he's had his injuries at Real, excuse me, but to not be firing the way he is, something's not right.
No, I don't. There's something up with the board there. It's not going right for them, and obviously, Atletico Madrid doing so well in La Liga as well. It's not going to be nice for them to watch.
I'm talking on the other club, Barca. We all know about the Messi saga, and that's not helped him.
Oh, I think with Barca, they've kind of been reliant on Messi for so long. So with this contract situation going up and being reliant on him, it's really disrupted the season. I just don't think they look the same team they were years ago. They've not been right for a couple of years, I think.
No, I have to give you a bit of agreement there. For me, when they lost Neymar, I think that was one piece of Messi's puzzle as well, because he was a big fan. Like, still good close mates. He's tried to get him back at Barca, but they're not having it. They got Griezmann instead. I'm not disrespecting Griezmann's qualities. He's a phenomenal forward, but it just makes you wonder who's having the actual final say on transfers. Is it players who have insight in the club, or is it the manager who's getting the insight?
I think that's the same. I think that's the same as Real Madrid, to be honest, because at Barcelona, that possibly could be the president again. The elections coming up and whatever every 2 or 3 years. The way that Barcelona is run is so difficult, and it really has an impact on the starting 11, because you touched on the board there, and Messi's relationship, if you like, with the board isn't great at all. You know, prior to these elections, they were in tatters and he nearly left.
Yeah.
So it's the way that Barcelona is run is so unique. The only other club I can think of that are run in a similar way is Bayern Munich, but it's just a mess at the moment, I think, at Barca. I really do think that.
Do you think Coleman was the right appointment there?
I think I understand why he went to Barcelona, having the legendary status, but I really don't. I don't think he was, to be honest, because from the outset, I think his relationship with Messi was too publicised. I just didn't think he belonged there. It was too early in his managerial career to go to Barcelona, I think.
Here's a question for you, and probably one for people who want to discuss this in the comments. Are club legends getting a chance too easily over actual managers who deserve a shot at the club?
I think it depends on the club manager, to be honest. If you look at somebody like when Josep Guardiola took over at Barcelona, I think that was perfect timing. I think timing has everything to do with it as well. Zidane, in a couple of years, he was brilliant when he first came in. Guardiola, the same. I just think it depends. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's timing, Jordan.
Yeah.
You can have you can walk into a club tomorrow. Like, for instance, when Guardiola got the Barcelona job, he walked into a dressing room that had Puyol, Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, all these amazing players. So sometimes it works because of the players you've got around you.
Yeah.
And other times when you have to build stuff at Chelsea, when they've signed them amount of players they did, it's just not going to work. So it depends on the squad, I think.
The squad and timing, because
Yeah,
if you look at Solskjaer, like, people give him some right sticking up, but he's trying to turn it around, and I think he's doing an alright job, to be fair.
I think just touching on Solskjaer, I think he's done really well. I have to admit, when he first came into Manchester United, I was a bit apprehensive. I don't think he'd last long, but given the FA Cup weekend they've just had and everything, they look as though they're on the upwards. And given their league position as well, I don't think they've done this well in a couple of years, like from where they are now to, previous season. So I think all in all, he's doing a cracking job, to be honest. I can't really fault Oli at the moment.
Yeah, so quickly moving back to Atletico, do you see him winning La Liga this year?
I think it's a one-horse race, to be honest. I think it's over. It'll either be Atletico or Real, but I just think Atletico look the better squad because of Diego Simeone. He won't. Their defense is so compact. I don't think many players will score against them. So I think it's possibly a one-off race.
I think you touched on Simeone there. I think you made a great point. Not only good defensive, but it demands like 110% of every single player, game in, game out. Like, it doesn't matter whether you got legendary status, whether you're the trickster. Like, if you're not giving 100%, you get benched or you're not even in the match day squad.
I just think that's Simeone for you. He's that kind of manager. He's a little Argentinian pitbull. If you don't get play into a certain standard, then you're not gonna play, and therefore you're winning more matches because his demands are so high. Yeah. I mean, you only have to look at what he did at Anfield. So I can't fault Simeone at all.
Yeah, I think that's testament to him and his Atletico squad, isn't it?
Definitely.
Got a question for you now. I asked Steve in episode 1, if you could sign anyone for Liverpool in January, who would you pick?
Very good question. If I could sign any, I tell you what, which might be looking at my notes, Sergio Ramos would be a good signing. He's not signing an extension, and we need somebody at the back just to show up, and he's a winner, so possibly Sergio Ramos.
Would you go pre-contract there, or would you make sure you paid a fee to get him at Anfield early?
Oh, definitely get him early because we need some organisation. Although I would say I wouldn't mind. To be honest, Jordan, I think the thing with Liverpool is it's not in terms of signings. I think it's fitness. We need a fully fit. If we had a fully fit squad, it'd be a different story. But we don't. And all credit to United who beat us in the FA Cup, and people like City and Chelsea are doing well at the moment. So it's the way the league works, the way the FA Cup works. It's one of them things, and we just have to crack on.
You touched on your squad there. Just want to ask you a quick question here. Do you miss Van Dijk more? Or have you missed Diogo Jota more?
Very good question. I would probably go with Jota. Because I think Fabinho has just been absolutely superb. I just think we really miss a key striker. And Firmino, for me, for a couple of years, hasn't been that striker. So I would probably have Jota back.
Yeah, he was firing for fun at the start of the season one end. No disrespect to Firmino because he's a quality player. He doesn't get enough goals, but I understand his game isn't always goals. It's linking up play and creating opportunities for other people.
I think the difference between Jota and Firmino for me is Jota is a starter and Firmino is very good off the bench. Because if you're 2 or 3 up and you can bring on Roberto Firmino, you've sorted it. Do you know what I mean? But if you want somebody firing, you have to start Jota.
Excuse me, touching on Liverpool there, where do you see yourselves at the end of the season? Do you see yourselves retaining the league?
To be honest, right now, Jordan, the way that we're playing, and every team has a blip, I'm going to say, but I genuinely think that the 2 Manchester clubs are stronger right now. However, I don't think we'll drop out the top 4, so I'm going to go about 3rd. I think 3rd is a fair assessment.
And you spoke about the 2 Manchester clubs there. Manchester City were in action last night. They beat West Brom comfortably 5-0. They're showing the right signs here, aren't they, of levelling the game up? Because they went through the slow period, now they're just battering everyone who's in sight.
I think that City are going to win everything this season. I genuinely believe that. Even the Champions League, I think they're favourites. And obviously the FA Cup is kind of their cup now. We have to admit that. So, other than last year, of course.
Yeah.
But, I genuinely think that Guardiola has got it together at the right time. And Phil Foden, oh my God, what a player. Yeah. So I think that City are going to win everything, possibly this season.
Bold prediction, but I like it. I definitely think they're in there for Premier League race. That got to be favourite.
Yeah, I definitely put them favourite just because of the size of the squad and their midfield especially. So good, so good.
Because touching on something Peter Drury said last night, they're playing here without De Bruyne and Aguero. I was thinking to myself, I understand that point, but if you look at the actual depth they've got in the squad, the players like Gundogan, Foden, Torres, Sterling, just to name a few, not really missed. Like De Bruyne is a world-class player, and he walks into any squad in the Premier League. But when you can afford to play like that and look as if you're missing him, it's like fair play.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I will say one thing though. I think that City do look slightly better in midfield with De Bruyne playing. They look slightly more assured in midfield because of his defensive attributes as well. He wins the ball back quickly. That's the only thing I would say about De Bruyne. But other than that, I can't really fault City this season. They've been astonishing.
Yeah,
and they've got a great manager. So
touching over onto the red side as well. United, I was speaking about this in episode 1, like Fernandes has just brought this winning mentality like back to Old Trafford. And in doing so, I think in the dressing room, they believe they can actually do things now, whereas without him, they look lost.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's really funny about, I can't remember a Portuguese doing so well at Old Trafford. Nobody springs to mind. I can't really think of any. Can you? No, he's been a he's been a breath of fresh air for the Premier League. Really, the way he controls the ball in midfield, they've always needed. I think the thing with United is they've never replaced a decent centre midfielder. And I know he's not a centre mid before, but he just looks as though he's got that presence, and he's brought the best out of Pogba. I have to say, I think he's brought the best out of Pogba. So he's kind of been influential on and off the pitch. But Paul Pogba, if he stays fit, gets back to full form with Fernandes, they've got every chance. But I would put City above them just because of their midfield. Their midfield is on another level.
And quick touching on Arsenal, we talked earlier about Arteta being given the time and to turn results around. Their resurgence has been nothing short of phenomenal in the league at the moment.
Yeah, they've been brilliant. They've been absolutely brilliant. He's done such a good job there. I think, obviously, keeping the faith and working with Guardiola like he did for a couple of years, I think that he's been influential. Obviously, the signings he made with class signings in the summer, so he's done a really good job.
And you play tonight, don't you? What score do you think you'll be?
It's a tough game tonight. It really is. We've got it's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow night?
Is it tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow night. Tottenham away.
Glad you know that. I should have done my
research. Yeah, Tottenham away. To be honest with you, Jordan, given Mourinho's tactics, I will either go 1-0 Spurs or 0-0.
Yeah, he's got the habit of camping against counter-attacking.
I'd either go 1-0 Spurs or 0-0.
Question I want to lead you on to, because we're talking about the Premier League. Who's been your player of the season so far?
Phil Foden, 100%. I just love watching him play. And I said at the start of the season to my friend, he could walk into Barcelona squad. He is that good. He is the best English player we've had since Paul Scholes. That's a big statement, but it's true. He's the best English player we've had since Paul Scholes, I think.
I've got to agree. He's been phenomenal this season. My choice was Jack Grealish. I was explaining that how he's look more comfortable this season, creating the chances and getting his goals and assists. I'm saying because he's elevated his game to that, there's no reason why he can't go to a big six club now. Obviously, I know he's Villa through and through, which is testament to him. Well, it's good to see that these young English players actually taking to the stage, saying, "No, this is my place now."
Yeah, I think as well. Touching on Jack Grealish, it depends on how much he loves Villa. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean because he can do things for Villa, and if he stays at Villa, all testament to him. Got the utmost respect for him, I really have. But if he wants to move on, I don't understand that. So yeah, I think they're both doing well, but Phil Foden for me is just on another level. He really is.
And one question I want to lead to here, talked about player this season. Who do you think's been your most underrated player?
My most underrated player that doesn't get enough credit, I'd probably say. I actually think that a player, not ours, but in the Premier League, that's been playing really well recently, is Wan-Bissaka. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he actually does. So I'd probably say Wan-Bissaka, but from a Liverpool point of view,
it's hard, isn't it?
I'm not sure. But I think if I'm going in the Premier League, I'd probably say Wan-Bissaka.
Good shout there. I touched on James Ward-Prowse last week, but I forgot about this man. I think Maddison's been doing quite well for Leicester. I know he gets plaudits now and again, but when you look at his actual goals and assists, it doesn't get enough credit.
No, I agree with that. Especially his assists. His balls into the area have been phenomenal. And when you work with Jamie Vardy, it must be like a dream for him.
Oh yeah, you know exactly where to put the ball and he'll run onto it.
Definitely. It must be every midfielder's dream to work with Jamie Vardy. So yeah, definitely.
And I think the most important question, the final one to end on: are you Messi or Ronaldo?
Can't answer that. It changes every week. So this week I'll say Ronaldo. Next week I'll probably say Messi. But
go on, any reason for Ronaldo?
Longevity. He's done it in multiple countries. Messi can't say that, and I know that. And obviously, he's closing in on the all-time greatest goal record. His numbers are ridiculous. He's just a machine. He's like Zlatan in many ways. He just gets better. So I'd probably say Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's the one important question that every guest will be getting asked. That one.
Yeah,
Ronaldo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go CR7. CR7 definitely.
So this brings us to the end of episode 2. I'd like to thank Jake for coming on.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
And thank you for stopping by and watching the 33SC podcast.